What's up? Colin Royce here. Today we're going to be going over some different ways to sample in Ableton. We all love Ableton, super dope program, very flexible, and because it's very flexible, there's a more traditional way of chopping samples that I think it's more true to the old school like MPC style. Which can, it gives you a different feel, and like you can really hone in on where you want your sample to be chopped. But then there's also the traditional way, which you'll find on like just any tutorial, just using the simpler instrument. So first, let's get into it. Let's just listen to the sample. So this is a sample from tracklib.com. Oh my God, excuse me. I have another tutorial out, just put out where it goes in on how to like find the perfect sample for any song, any key, any BPM. You can basically find it through there using that website. So very dope website. Definitely check that out. But here's a sample. I digress. So the traditional way is just using a simpler instrument in Ableton. So it starts out automatically in classic mode, just plays from the start of the sample by default, but then you can move the arrow to hit anything. So that only gives you like a one shot though. So if you can't have multiple instance or parts of the sample playing on your keyboard or your push or whatever drum machine you're using. One shot basically does the same thing, except it just continues it going. Okay. Then there's slice. So slice is dope, and it basically auto detects different hits in the sample, and where it tries to predict where like a human might place their sample cut. It's pretty good, but it's not the optimum level of control. And here's why for me. So like that hit right there, what am I gonna do with that? Maybe I can find something, but if I'm building a track from scratch, like those short little hits like that aren't gonna cut it. Like we could, maybe it's just a little choppy. Now you can adjust the sensitivity down here, and so like generally make those cuts longer. I'm basically just playing through the samples in order. But you just get a bunch of random stuff like that doesn't sound good. It just doesn't. So the way that I like to do it, and it's a little bit more time consuming, but once you take the time to do it, you have like a better like understanding of the sample and what you want to hit. And it's easier to blend the different parts, the different cuts together, because on this simpler cut here, like the short ones when you stop and like you have like an empty space in your sample, and it makes it just sound like really choppy. But what I do is you take the sample and you load up a drum rack. Okay, drop the sample in the first one, and on the old school MPC, well actually maybe I shouldn't say that because I never used an old school MPC, but I used Machine back in the day, and they had a duplicate button, which was like supposed to be modeled off of that. So you could hit duplicate, and you just map the sample to every single pad in the MPC. So I hold Control, drag one sample, and bring it over to the next box. Let's do that for one whole pad of 16. Blah, 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 blah. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So now we have the sample playing like that. Now, the problem is that they're all playing at the same time. They're all playing at the same time, and they won't stop. Once you trigger it, it just continues off until the entire 2-minute sample is over. Can't have that. So what you do is you go and hit this little tab here in the middle here. Boom. And this brings up like basically a track for each pad that the sample is dropped on. So you select all of those, hold shift, hit the top one, hold shift, hit the bottom one, and then you're going to hit this little input output button right here. And there's a column here that says choke. So set that to 1. And basically that's just telling the drum rack that only one sample, one pad can be played at the same time. So this way it automatically fills in every space because it'll continue until a new pad is hit. So the way you go in and edit this stuff is you go to your first pad, you go in here, so we know that we want the sample to start there, right? Okay, cool. So then you go to click the second pad, and then you just drag the starter. We want it to hit the second chord. You can put a little fade in. You know what I mean? Okay, we accidentally edited the first one. But we can do it. Okay, we did it again. Okay, there it is. And we'll hit the third one. So you got to make sure you have the right pad selected, and like it takes a little getting used to. And then we'll just add the third one. We'll just go through this quick. You know what I mean? That sounds dope. So like simpler, the other method, it might not chop it there. But you with your human ear, you're going through and placing each place, so you will hear things that the computer can't. So we'll go to the fourth pad. Next pad. So I just like to just drag it through. Next pad. So you get the point. Now we could sit here for 45 minutes and hit every part of the sample that we want, and I definitely do that sometimes, but for the sake of this video, just quick chop just so you get the idea of the technique. But I think it's super dope, and I think it helps a lot. It really does. Like, I definitely prefer this method over the simpler method. The simpler method, not the simpler method. I guess it is a simpler method, but the simpler instrument method in Ableton is quick and easy. But I find I finish more tracks when I start a sample this way. So that's it for today. If you like the content, like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Peace.